Hello, I'm Chrissy.
And I'm Caroline, and we're interior designers. More and more people are asking us about what we do and how we do it.
Which brings us to our new design adventure, the Design Duet. Join us as we discuss the ins and outs and the ups and downs of interior design.
Today we're sitting down with two icons of Melbourne design, John and Barbara Hermon, founders of Hermon Hermon, the much-loved Richmond store that reshaped how Melburnians furnished their homes.
Hermon Hermon became known for its signature style, a layered textural blend of global craftsmanship, natural materials, earthy palettes and one-of-a-kind pieces that carried soul and story.
Long before it was fashionable, the Hermons were supporting artisan-made furniture, handmade textiles and objects collected from around the world, introducing Melbourne to a warmer, more meaningful way of decorating.
Since closing the store, John and Barbara have continued to influence the design landscape. They have worked as design consultants ever since, sharing their insight and experience with the retail and commercial communities, where their voice remains highly respected.
After relocating and thoughtfully recreating a lifetime of treasured pieces, they've embraced a new chapter, becoming beloved dog minders in the neighbourhood, all while staying connected to the world of design.
Today we explore their journey, their philosophy and the stories behind the pieces they've collected and cherished over decades. Morning, John and Barbara.
Morning.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having us.
Let's begin with the Hermon Hermon story. Can you please share your design and business background and the key skills, experiences or early influences that have shaped you both and how it sparked the beginning of Hermon Hermon?
I think, Barbara, you should go
Okay,
then. We'll
well,
start with your early career.
I'll start off with something that I think affected me was actually, as a child, I lived in Japan for 2 years in the 50s, which gave me a great passion for Asian art and the colour red.
Yes.
And then back to Geelong, and in 1967, when I turned 20, I opened up my first homeware store, which was an experience, selling Swedish glassware, cookware, grass matting on the floor. It was quite, and they said, give her a couple of months, she'll be gone. Anyway,
Where was that, Barbara?
Geelong.
Geelong,
In Geelong,
right,
yes.
okay.
And it was called, my surname was May, and everybody called me Barbie with an I. So it was suggested I call it Barbie May. So it was Barbie May. Anyway, after 3 years, I had women coming in every day looking at my left hand saying, darling, are you going steady, engaged? Oh, no, we'll have to invite you around for tea tonight and introduce. Anyway, because in the 60s and you were in your 20s, so I packed up and moved to Melbourne. My mother moved to Melbourne as well. Got to Melbourne and had an interview with Trade Action, actually in High Street, Armadale, who wanted somebody to manage their showroom. And they said, sorry, we wanted somebody who's had Maya training. And I said, look, I've had my own business for 3 years. Anyway, they ended up giving me the job. Handicrafts of Asia, Trade Action was owned by Community Aid Abroad, so all our profit went to Community Aid Abroad. Mm-hmm. I had an opportunity to go to Russia, and I went to my boss and I said, look, I've got an opportunity to go to Russia. And he said, Barbie, just go. And I said, but I feel embarrassed that I've just taken on. Anyway, I went to Russia. They sent me whatever they did in those days. Telex. Thank you, John.
Yeah.
Would you come back? We're setting up the buying department. So I came back to Melbourne, back to High Street, or 1100 High Street, and they were setting up an office in Delhi, and they asked me whether I wanted fashion, and I said no. So they gave me the homewares and jewellery buyer. So all of the 70s I travelled on my own to 2 developing countries, 10 weeks at the beginning of the year, 10 weeks at the end of the year, buying handicrafts. And quite an interesting experience because, in your 20s travelling to Pakistan, Ethiopia, Turkey, Iran, etc. On my own.
Wow.
So then when I said to John, when Mr. Webb retires, his things are going to change. So anyway, I came back, resigned. I resigned at the end of the 70s. We then lived in Greece for a few years and then in London and came back here and went to see a friend of mine, Bruce Chinnery at David Jones. He said, Doll, how about you get you a job at the David Jones? I said, a department store. And he said, yes, it'll get you back into the industry, which it did.
Yeah, great.
So when we took over the Burke Street store, which was Coles, which is now Mecca,
yes,
I set up the decorated apartment, and then I took over furniture and had that for a few years, and then I just found it was hard. It was just difficult because I tried to do things differently to what David Jones did around Australia. So John and I had a discussion. We said, "Oh, do you think we should? Why don't we start importing?" And
Up until that time, my background had been more in the commercial world, but it slipped into the buying, renovating, and decorating homes, selling them on for profit. So, we were between houses. We were in Port Melbourne at that stage, weren't we? And so we combined our ideas and came up with the concept of Hermon Hermon.
Okay.
It was back to part of what trade action, what Barbara's past career with trade action was, and bringing it into the future. We rented a space and then hopped on a plane and
we were wholesale in Waltham Street in Richmond. And when we moved to Richmond, people said, "Why on earth would you go?" This is 1990. Why on earth would you go to Richmond? We said, "We just think it's a great place." And then we were running out of space, and John found this 1,200 square metres on Swan Street. And he said, "Oh, let's go down there." So we went down there, divided up into little petitions, and we knocked all the petitions down, and we looked and we said, "Oh, look at those windows. Maybe we should go." And we had people bashing on the windows saying, "What are you doing? What are you doing?"
Yeah,
we said, "Oh, we're
right.
just a wholesale." And then we said, so it was a really very organised plan.
Hermon Hermon there it was.
Yeah, fantastic.
So then we sort of said, "Okay, well, maybe we should go retail."
There's one little antidote there because there was somebody who had put herself out as the design guru, and she had radio programs and all sorts of things. And when we said it's going to be Hermon Hermon, and this person said, and no names, but she said, "Oh, you're stupid. You can't use your own name. What place is successful? Did you?" And I said to this person, "What about Coles? What about mine?
Yeah,
David Jones.
What about David
Jones?
Jones? What about George's?"
Anyway,
so
so then we moved down to this bigger space, and then it just it grew and grew and grew, and again, as I say, everybody was saying, "Why Richmond?" And we said we just felt it was a good location for people to come from different suburbs, and we were the first people. I think there was, a couple of sort of furniture, but nothing on Church Street.
No,
absolutely
there was
nothing at all.
You definitely were ahead of your time, and it was probably a fantastic location because really, as designers, we were going between Hawthorn and Paran.
Yeah, that's right.
You're
Very
an
easy
easy
parking,
parking.
smack bang in the middle.
To that point, we chose that spot because it was a destination. We didn't want to be in a shopping strip where you've got prams and kids with ice creams and all. If anybody came to Hermon Hermon,
Very smart.
It was a destination they came to buy. But more so, second year, was it the second year or third year, we put in a cafe.
Yes.
And that attracted more people, as you were saying, from different businessmen were coming out from the city or having meetings where people coming from the outer suburbs was sort of a central
smart move.
point.
Smart move. I was there once a week, as you probably know, lifting up that cafe.
Yeah, well, there are designers, well-known designers, decorators and designers who have told us that they got their inspiration by when they were school kids. Being in the cafe with their mums.
Oh, wow.
And just looking out at the...
While they ate their roll.
Absolutely.
You see, because why we moved along with the Richmond base, and I guess the cafe was part of making us a little bit more distinctive, but we were very conscious about display and service particularly, and created a gallery type atmosphere.
Absolutely.
So it was away from the regular retail.
It's exactly how that feel was.
And it was to give people inspiration. And it brought out, when we were consulting with people to do their homes or choosing fabrics or even working with tradespeople, the atmosphere sort of brought out their personality. You could get to as you would know, working with a client, you've got to get in their head before you can.
Without a doubt.
You can't
and maybe in their
dictate. You
stomach.
don't dictate to them what they should have. You've got to find out what they.
Yes, so true.
So it all worked together, but display was most important. and customer service. Good old-fashioned customer service.
Who were Hermon and Hermon's customers? Were they the public, architects, tradespeople, or industry clients, or a mix of them all?
Absolutely everybody.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And when there was a design show in Melbourne, Decor and Design or whatever, all the interstate people would say, we always have to come down to that because we come to Hermon and Hermon.
Mm-hmm.
And it was it was a huge mixture of people, huge mixture. And, we used to say to the staff, never judge what somebody's driving or what they're wearing because you can never judge. I remember one day walking across the floor and one of the designers was sitting with a couple. He was in yakka boots and tats and singlet and, a bit scrubby. And as I walked by, I said, can I offer you a coffee? And his wife said, I'm so sorry about it. I said, excuse me, that's fine. Would you like a coffee? They spent $85,000, and you don't. And that was quite a few years ago. So it was the cross-section of clientele was incredible.
Yeah, fantastic. So looking back, what is the most significant or defining memory from your years running that store? Was it things like that, Barb?
I think the things that I loved was working with the amazing designers in the Philippines.
Yeah.
They were just so, and we had a passion for quality.
Yes.
Hated against copying. In fact, we were part of a delegation with Anne-Marie Sargent to the government to try and stop copying in Australia because that was the thing that working with we worked with different countries, Thailand and so on, but Philippines was the main one. And a lot of people used to say to us, why don't you go to China and have it copied? And I said, no. We work with the original designers, with the natural fibres, and we spent a lot of time. One day, quite a few years ago, Neil Whittaker, when he started as editor of Bell magazine, came to the Philippines with us and did a story, a 10-page story.
Wow.
And working with all the designers and so on. And everybody said, why are you letting everybody know that, I said, we're promoting the Philippines.
Absolutely.
It's important that, and that's the thing probably that I miss the most is actually working with these amazing people.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a matter of just buying that item, but there was one chair we had, the Palladio chair, which we called the Palladio chair, which was, we sold thousands of them.
I remember that.
And just working with the design, with the manufacturers, nylon guiders, qualities, stackable, and working with them and perfecting that, whatever the item was.
Yeah. And always beautiful, unique pieces.
Absolutely.
The chair and the lighting.
Yes.
That's what I always
the
remembered.
lighting I always
Yes, but-
remember. Yeah.
As Barbara was main buyer, her ability to put together stories, like at several different suppliers, you could mix their products to make a complete story.
Yeah,
Yes.
beautiful.
A complete room setting or something like that. It's just
The
It's a
thing,
skill.
the copying thing was I'd go to trade shows here and I'd walk onto a stand and say, excuse me, do you realise that's a Tony Gonzalez original? So what's your problem?
Oh.
And then the other one, which probably I shouldn't mention their name, but I will, Beacon Lighting. They put a thing up, this lamp, a bird's nest lamp, and I thought, what? So I emailed them. I said, you realise that's a copy from this designer in the Philippines? No, it's our design. So I thought, right. So I went through all our advertising, I sent 15 pages to them and said, this is the product that we've been selling for 7 years, but they never ever.
Oh, it's a shame, isn't it?
Well, it just.
They just don't care.
No, they don't. It's just
It's all
copy.
about making money.
It is, and it's copy. And that's the thing that we were
but there's
passionate.
no integrity.
No
We're
integrity.
really passionate about people. I'd say to our staff, just tell the client that sofa or that item, they save up, buy it, they'll be leaving it in their will. It's something that's a quality item.
A generational piece.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So running such a hands-on business, how did you juggle your life?
We didn't have a life.
There's no
Was
life.
there balance or not?
There's no life.
No, it was just
when
7
When
days.
you're working 24/7, even if you're not in the business, your mind never shuts.
Well, I used to wake up in the morning and
agree
say,
with you.
what's the dollar today? Oh, it's 92. I've got to send $25,000 to the Philippines.
You
And
don't check the weather, you check the dollar.
Yes.
Yes.
And then somebody said to me one day at the end of where do I go for a holiday in the Philippines? I don't know. But you've been going 3 times a year for 25 years. I said, I've
Not a
never had a
holiday.
holiday.
No.
You haven't had a holiday? I said, no.
No, we've never seen
And then I
Voyage.
remember one day
No.
one designer who's now got quite a name in Melbourne, he just trained with us, I won't use his name, but he said, where's the swimming pool? I said, what? The swimming pool. I said,
You're in factories.
and it just anyway. So it was very, very full on, and you know, because you'd get home and you'd be invited to go to the National Gallery for this or that or whatever, and you think, oh my God, I'm too tired, I can't, you know. So we'd refuse a lot of things. And people say to us now, oh my God, you're so busy going out. And I said, well, we're not, you know,
got time
because
now.
people walk up to us and saying, how are you enjoying retirement? I said, we didn't retire, didn't you? I said, no, we're getting a life.
Yes. Oh, you just
I
moved
like
on.
that. Yeah.
So for today's homeowners and renters, how can they bring their personality into a home without spending an absolute fortune?
We always say to people, when you move into a new space or buy a new space or renting a new space, don't rush in and go and buy something.
Yeah.
Get the feel of the place first, because if you rush in and buy something, it might be the wrong, because you can get into a space and think, oh, the lighting's different, I imagine, or the space feels different. And we try and say to them, please buy a quality piece that will last.
Absolutely.
Oh, but I only want it for a couple of years. And I said, but it's going into landfill. You know, just think about.
And we always say, buy cheap, you buy twice.
Absolutely.
More than twice, you know, many times. And it's buying quality.
Yeah.
And perhaps having a few generational pieces.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, I think
But
to start
one
off
quality focal point
Without a doubt.
Yes.
is a feature, and you can build around that without clutter.
Absolutely.
How have the two of you evolved since closing Hermon and Hermon? Creatively, how have you evolved?
John's evolved very, very well, but I've been.
Oh, really?
Well, no, he started doing art classes, taking art classes.
Just before my 80th birthday, I thought I had to have a hobby. So I picked up oil paint and fell in love with it.
Right.
And from a YouTube teach yourself painting thing, I then thought, well, I've got to take lessons, you know, to do the technical things, how to mix colours and how to. Anyway, the long and short of it, I've had one solo exhibition.
Oh, have you?
Oh, well done.
Our local.
And you know, it's just continuing on from that. But it's something that I just immerse myself in. I can just go down into my studio space. 6 hours could pass.
How wonderful.
Just
Well, our local deli, Lycon Deli on Bridge Road, Richmond, we've been going to for 30 years. 30 plus years. Some months ago they said to John, they've got a space, they've got the deli and then they've got a raised area where there's table settings and so on. And Johnny at Lycon Deli said, oh, John, why don't you have an exhibition? And John said, what? And I said, oh, what? So it was their idea. We didn't have to pay for it. So they cleared out that space, set up the gallery with all John's paintings, put on this amazing sort of because a lot of he said, oh, well, you're Richmond royalty. We want to promote Richmond.
Right.
And it was the most amazing night. And John nearly sold out.
fabulous.
And it was just
What do you paint? Is it landscape, portraits?
portraits.
Portraits.
And still
life. Yeah.
Oh, how
Oh, so
lovely.
amazing.
Oh. And then
Fantastic.
Congrats.
Tanya Buchanan, she said, she heard about it, and she said, give me the information. So you know how they do the Friday Fives?
Yes.
Yes.
She put it up on that.
Oh, wow.
Oh, how gorgeous.
Yes, it was just
Let's have a look at some of them.
And
yes.
you've recently moved, like in your 80s, and you've moved home.
I'm not in my 80s yet.
Oh, nearly.
I've got a year-
of course,
year
you
and a
spring
couple-
chicken.
Anyway.
Well,
yes.
you both look fabulous. What was the process like for you, and how are you feeling about it all?
Difficult.
Yeah, right.
It was. I actually found it a bit more traumatic than I expected.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't just moving from house to house. It was looking at everything and saying, okay, do we really need that? So sold quite a lot of pieces at Leonard Joel.
Yes.
And gave a lot to Sacred Heart Mission.
Fantastic.
In fact, I just got a text from them last week saying, I said, I hope everything's sold. And he said, everything's gone.
Oh, isn't that lovely?
So I was a bit...
Well, everything would have been beautiful.
Of
Well, I know,
course.
but I also boxed everything up and labelled it. And so they said, oh, my God, you've labelled it. I said, well, yes, I've labelled cooking books and design, So downsizing, getting rid of a lot of stuff was difficult. So what we did is we had to move into this rent place. We just had to take bed linen and some cooking things. And then
Sort of like
everything
you're on a
else
little
is
holiday.
Yes, so then everything else has gone into Kent storage. And the things that we got rid of, I shouldn't say got rid of, but sold, were sort of newer pieces that we thought, there was one Nagaland bed which was amazing. It wasn't a new piece, but it was a massive piece, and I thought wherever we go that won't fit. So I just looked at pieces that...
Yeah, so you've kept your treasured pieces.
Absolutely. Because a lot of the pieces we have some beautiful artwork, a lot of it from Joshua Yeldham, gorgeous Joshua Yeldham, and other treasures that we have are pieces that I might have bought when I was travelling in the 70s, or pieces that I've been given. And each, somebody said, "Oh, you're going to pack," when we moved to East Melbourne, they said, "You're going to get rid of some of this stuff." I said, "No, because each item has a story or a memory behind it." Yes.
You've sort of answered the next question for me. The impossible pieces that you couldn't get rid of, what you've sort of answered it, but is there anything in particular you can think of?
John has one. You've named one, Bulul.
Oh, yeah, I have. It's a tribal piece of a rice god from the Philippines called a Bulul. It is, I think, about 120, 130 years old, but it's carved out of wood. It's a very, very special piece for me because I selected it in an antique shop and just fell in love with it.
Guards. You have him near your front door because he guards your front door.
Right. Okay.
And when I looked at that question on the sheet, I thought, oh my gosh, which piece? Because there are so many pieces, but there's one particular one which is otofuku. It's a mask because I love, and John gave me otofuku. She sits on my dressing table, and when I think there was a question regarding older pieces, and I had inherited quite a few pieces that were not my styles.
This is a good tip for other people.
So what I did with them, I thought, okay, I'll sell them. I auctioned them, sent them to Joel's. And then the money that I got, I went to Kazari and bought pieces that I really wanted. So then the money, so then I look at my dressing table and this jewellery box and these beautiful pieces that were...
The inherited pieces.
Yeah, the inherited pieces, the money. Yes. So then I didn't feel guilty about...
They turned into something that...
Yeah, special. That's really special. Yeah, I love that.
Clever too.
And tell us, now you've created this new life for yourself, we're hearing about the dog minding. So a completely different change, I'm sure, for you. And how did that begin? And does that bring you so much joy?
Dog minding, it really is only for friends when they go on holiday.
Okay.
And dogs that we know, and they, the criteria is that they're house trained and they can sleep on the bed.
Yeah, but
Barbara has the antidote.
A few years ago, Karen McCartney, who you probably know, we're in contact quite regularly, and she has 2 puppy dogs. In fact, Father Christmas. Anyway, I'll tell you. She sent me a message and she said, "Darling, what are you doing now that Charlie's passed away?" Charlie passed away quite a few years ago, and I said, "Oh, we're taking in friends' dogs when they're on holidays." I said, "We jokingly call it H&H B&B."
I love
that. The following weekend, there was a story in the Good Weekend magazine from Karen McCartney about dogs in homes. If I was a dog living in Melbourne, I'd choose to stay at H&H B&B.
Absolutely.
So I had all these people phoning, "I didn't know you'd set up a business." And I said, no, it's just, friends' dogs when they're on. No, we... Funnily enough, I just got a message from Karen yesterday because all the puppies the favourite puppies we know, we don't actually know, Ben and Bowie, we get these beautiful treats made locally from the Golden Barkery, all natural, fit for human consumption, and they put their names on them.
Oh, how gorgeous.
She sent me a photograph yesterday. They've just set the Christmas tree up, and the dogs...
biscuits are sitting there.
Well, they're bags from Santa.
I want to be a doggy coming to your house.
Exactly.
So that's the doggy, the doggy situation. We
so
don't
obviously gives you a lot of joy.
It's being like grandparents.
Yeah,
yes.
Lovely.
So listeners, don't think you can ring Barbara and John to drop your dog off.
They're very particular.
And I usually have treats in my little Izzy Miyake bag. And dogs rush up to me. I'm the bitch on Bridge Road with the treats. And dogs rush up to me, dogs that I don't know. And the owner said, "I'm terribly sorry." I said, "My bag smells of the treats." And so I think that's what they go, "Oh, okay, fine."
Oh, that is gorgeous. I love it.
Moving on, Hermon Hermon was built on a love of meaningful, handcrafted pieces. And how did that philosophy evolve over the years? I mean, you've obviously been talking about it in every question we've asked you, but how has it evolved from the beginning to now?
Oh, dear. How has it evolved?
Well,
Or is it the same? Is it the
Well,
same?
it is
no,
the same.
it's much the same.
Yes.
I think we remained true to our original philosophy of handmade or natural fibres
Quality.
and quality craftsmanship and superior design. You have to combine the three. You can't just pick and choose
it
one.
sort of goes hand
one.
in hand.
It all goes hand in hand. And it's a decade now since we closed the doors.
Yeah.
So we haven't been involved with it, but, the principle still would remain the same.
Well, we still have people walking up to us in the street saying, "Oh, I miss Hermon and Hermon so much." And we still have people every now and then. I get an email saying, "Where can I buy this and where can I buy that?" And I'll tell you a funny story. I remember some years ago, The Age had the store, the online store selling product, and they asked me to be one of their curators.
Yes.
And when we went to the launch at The Age in Melbourne, I saw Michael Lunick standing on the other side, and I thought, "Oh, Michael Lunick, I'm a great fan." I said to the Age guy, I said, "Look, I'll come and we'll meet him." So we went over, we met him. And some months later, we went to an event that he was at Mercedes-Me in the city, supposedly going to be interviewed by someone, but he said to his PA, "I will interview myself." Anyway, we walked in before it started and we saw him. We went up to say hello and we were chatting to him, and this lady came rushing in. So John and I stepped back for her to speak to Michael Lunick, and she said, "Hermon and Hermon, I miss you so much." And Michael Lunick saying there going, He said,
I thought I was the celebrity tonight.
It was
I love it.
This lady was going on and on and on. Michael Lunick going, "Excuse me." Anyway, no, but people still... And I actually find it very humbling, even when we went to Adelaide's book launch,
Yes.
people coming up saying, "Oh my gosh, Hermon," and it is humbling. It is totally, totally humbling.
Well, you're rock stars.
Well, it was
in
so
our
unique.
industry.
There was nothing like it, and there still isn't.
No. Well, it's just when people contact me and say, "Where can I go to get, similar items?" And I said, "Look, I'm sorry, I can't." You drive along Church Street and you think, it's
Where's your
copy,
inspiration?
sale.
That's right.
Copy. It's just, anyway, yeah.
Well, you've always, gravitated towards beautiful pieces and, things that, maybe are to do with history, soul pieces and you've always got a story behind them. And I think people gravitate to that as well. Can you share any of your travel moments, or any of your artisans that you've worked with, something that shaped you, that you discovered maybe?
I think the group of designers that we initially started working with in the Philippines were great inspiration because there was a cross-section of product and the ability to work with the craftspeople. There were, 50% of our product was imported, mainly Philippine or Thailand, and it was handmade, crafted. They were crafts and techniques that could not be done here.
Yes.
Could not. The rest of our handmade furniture was made locally. Anything that we could have made in Australia, timber, dining chairs,
Great.
Tables, they were.
Yeah.
But there were certain things could only be done. And this group of designers, and we are still in contact with them.
Oh, great.
We've, working relationship has developed into a lifelong friendship. And they were hugely influential.
Oh, absolutely. And even with, Mark Douglas, he contacted us a little while ago and he needed to manufacture something using a natural fibre. And he said, "Oh, can you have any ideas?" And we said, "Oh, yes, of course." And so we've introduced him to Tony Gonzalez, one of the main designers we worked with for all those years. And now they're doing some great collaborations.
Oh, fantastic.
Which is really, really good. And it's so good to be able to
introduce people.
Absolutely,
Yep.
absolutely. And there's somebody else, I won't mention who it is at the moment, but somebody else just contacted me regarding some manufacturing, and I said, "Yeah, absolutely, we'll give you some contacts." The only problem is at the moment, of course, is because the dollar's so low,
Yes.
in comparison. Interestingly, Mandy de Steiger at Classic with a Twist, we said to her go. So she went beginning of last year for a trade show. I said, look, here are all our contacts. And she came back and she said, the prices, because of the dollar.
Yes.
So that's the only problem, of course, at the moment. But no, it's wherever we can to, introduce people, make people connections. And it's not a matter of us making money out of it.
No,
it's just
that's
making the
right.
connections.
Well, you've got the knowledge and you've got the contacts. So
and so you see the
good
things
on
that
you.
a million years ago we used to sponsor, mentor interior design students at RMIT.
Yes.
And they used to come and work with us for 10 weeks at the end of the year. And that was a very interesting process to show them that it's not all glam and, that we had them in the warehouse, we had them in the office, we had them doing all jobs.
Yes, unpacking boxes.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
And it was
making
just,
a bed.
Yeah,
all of
it's
that.
just, and that was very rewarding, very rewarding.
Hands-on.
How do you curate a space so it still feels rich in story and history but doesn't borderline look cluttered?
As I say, when you move into a new space, take your time either purchasing or bringing your items in. I think put your bigger items in their space first. And sometimes we used to say to clients, if you're not sure about what size sofa, put some newspaper down on the floor so you've got an idea, so you can say, okay, I can have a bigger sofa or a smaller sofa. But it's very, very important to feel the lighting of the space, the character of the space,
The flow.
Before you start placing your artwork and before you. But even then, things like for instance, when we moved to East Melbourne, we have quite a bit of artwork and Jasper. I don't know whether you know Jasper.
Yeah, we used Jasper.
Yes,
Jasper.
and Jasper came in and I said to Jasper, I was thinking about that there and that there, and he said, can I make some suggestions? So that was good using him because what he suggested, I thought, that's a good idea. And when we built our place in Richmond, Jasper came around and I wanted one of the bathrooms on the living room floor. We had a loo, and I said I want it painted black. Anyway, the builder was really, what, you want the walls black? This is quite a few years ago. Because I had all these black and white photographs that I just used in IKEA frames, and I got Jasper on. And Jasper said, "What?" I said, he said, they're all IKEA frames. I said, I know, Jasper, they're just photographs. So what we did is we just lined this tiny space with dozens and dozens of photographs. So when guests would come, they'd be in the loo for ages.
Looking.
No, anyway, I've gone off the track there a bit, but I think it's just a matter of feeling the space.
Yes.
And not rushing in and purchasing or not rushing in to place something. Sit there for, a while to get the feeling, because I guarantee you'll feel completely different once you've been in the space for, the lighting and the –
Yeah, good advice.
So with then purchasing for your store, how did you go about that? Like, how were you guided and how did you choose? Because there's so many –
A gut feeling.
Okay.
I've got a very strong thing about trust your gut.
Yeah.
And it's like when you walk into a property. It's like when we walked into East Melbourne when we bought it 11 years ago. We walked in a meter. It was all very chintzy, nannery, very and I walked in a meter and went, oh, my God. And it's just something that just clicks with you. We've looked at quite a few apartments in the last few months, and you walk in and you just, just trusting your gut. I think you just
you just know.
You get a feel.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just like the natural light coming in gives you a feeling.
It's just something that just, yes, I feel
This is it.
Yeah.
And I suppose because we've got there's a bit of creativity between us and imagination of what a space can be.
Yeah.
Can be.
Yeah.
What we can create.
You can visualise it.
We can
almost.
visualise it fairly quickly.
Okay, we do this thing called the Mythbuster, and I'm going to ask you, inherited pieces make your home look dated.
Okay.
Do you agree or disagree, and why?
I disagree because I think old can coexist with the new. But saying that, I would say if we're going back a few questions, one inherited piece can be a feature and you can build around that
Yes.
with modern things and blend it in.
Great answer.
Definitely agree.
But not cluttered. We probably all grew up with Victoriana, heavy, dark, cluttered furniture.
Absolutely.
Which becomes a little bit depressing after a while. But one piece or two special pieces which you can't part with, you can.
And also the other thing is odd numbers, like putting 3 items together rather than having 4,
Yes.
things like that. And I think it's when you have treasures, you find spaces for them where they feel at home and might blend. I've got a beautiful Indian temple horse, and you just find that's the feature, and then it might be just something 2 items below it to bring the story together.
Lovely. Love that. Now, John, I've got some quick fire questions for you. So they're going to be quick.
Okay.
So favourite country to source from?
Trade fairs, Manila, Paris, Milan, Bangkok, Singapore.
Oh, wow.
Exciting.
Okay, very exciting. Favourite texture or material?
Natural fibres, abaca, a lot of the vines that you're probably aware in particularly the Philippines, there's probably 20 or 30 different, people might say it's cane, it's not. There are 20 or 30 different types of fibres and they can all be used in different ways. Yes.
Very interesting.
Got to be keep quick.
Most treasured object in your home and maybe the story behind it.
For me, I'll go back to what I said earlier, which is the Balul, this rice god, which
sounds beautiful.
Has a featured place.
And trends you love, John?
The next trend that comes along, the next big trend.
Yeah, good one. What about trends you've happily would leave behind?
Oh, Victoriana.
Okay, very good.
Agree.
Best collaboration you've ever had? It could be just the two of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty good.
The fact that we've lasted 50 years.
50 years, congratulations, amazing. And define Australian style in one sentence.
A mixture of the best of imported ideas.
Yeah, great. Yeah. And who's going to win the flag next year?
Hawthorn, of course.
I'm with you, John, 100%.
Another Hawthorn supporter.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So it's your me, John.
I reckon it could be, actually.
I think it could be too.
Wheeze and poos.
We've heard that joke a million times before. But thanks, Barb.
Yes. You said it very eloquently, actually.
You did.
What's your team?
Carlton, but also I love Geelong.
Oh, good.
Yes.
That's why you've got blue on, yes.
Yes, that's right. Your turn, Barbara, for your questions. Favourite country to source from?
It has to be the Philippines because of the time I've spent there. Well, it has to be the Philippines.
Okay. Favourite texture or material?
Again, abaca. Abacas can be used in so many different ways. It's quite a beautiful fibre.
Right.
It comes from banana plant, which in fact, interestingly, quite a few years ago, we had some furniture made in abaca fibre, woven, and we had a problem because they were banning it because it was from the banana fibre. Anyway, I was told that it was banned, and we had a conference call with the quarantine, and she said, no, you've got to put it under heat treatment to kill the. And I said, excuse me, it'll go that anyway. It would go on fire if you put.
Okay, right.
Anyway, sorry, I've divorced.
No. Well, it's good to know. Good to know.
Absolutely.
But anyway, we managed to bring it in.
Most treasured object in your home?
Otofuku, I did mention her before.
Yes.
The problem is there's quite a few.
Otofuku is Japanese good time girl.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yes.
Very interesting.
She represents good fortune, happiness and mirth.
Oh, love
I
that.
like the sound of her.
Yeah.
Yes.
Gorgeous.
I'd want her in my home too. Trend you love?
People purchasing good design and quality.
I love that. Trend you'd happily leave behind?
Copying.
Yes, you're passionate about that, which is wonderful.
Which is rife.
Best collaboration you ever had?
With the Filipino designers, because we were very lucky working with these top designers. And when we'd have a launch at Hermon Hermon, the Philippine ambassador would come to our launch because they were, so impressed with.
Wow.
Yeah, it was just always amazing working with them. Amazing.
Okay. Define Australian style in one sentence.
I couldn't answer that because I just find it's a mishmash. It's just, as I say, if you drive along Church Street in Melbourne, in Richmond, you think it's the copying, same. I don't see anything there that's, although, I'm sorry, I don't.
You think there's nothing unique about Australian design?
No, I don't think so. I just think, there are some fantastic designers out there, and with the latest design awards from Winnings and so on, there's some great designers. But then, I'm sorry if I'm not being very.
I know you'll really be clear with the next answer. Who is going to win the flag next year, Hawthorn or Geelong?
Hawthorn.
This is Barbara's question.
Oh, yes.
Sorry. Be truthful.
After last year, I'm not sure. After Brisbane Lions, I could tell you some funny stories. No, I won't tell them now. Yes,
just answer the question.
So
the Hawks.
You're not sure.
The Hawks, excuse me.
You haven't said anybody yet.
The Cats. Well, I have to say the Cats, don't I?
What's Cats mean?
See, this
is what a marriage is.
No, it's typical Hawthorn comments.
Yes.
The banter.
Yes.
I could tell you some really good ones.
Oh, I love it. Thank you to you both.
Well, thank you. That was just wonderful hearing your stories.
Thank you. I hope it was, yes.
We still miss Hermon Hermon.
Yeah, we do, but you've had an extraordinary career.
I just miss, the thing that I miss the most is working with the Filipino designers. I miss them so, and I'm in contact with them regularly, and they were just so incredible to work with. A funny story, when Neil Whittaker wrote that story, the 10 pages in the Bell magazine, I took a truckload of them over to hand out to all the people who are in the story. The magazines. And I got to the airport in Manila, and this very butch sort of woman came up, the customs person, said, "What are you doing?" She started screaming at me. I said, "Excuse me, I'm promoting your country. I will take those in." Oh, okay.
Oh, how gorgeous.
Oh, no, she was really – anyway, no, because it was a beautiful story actually.
Yeah,
it was
absolutely.
Just
and unique.
Yes, yeah.
Very unique.
But as I say, and everybody said, "Why would you promote – you're telling everybody your suppliers." I said, we're promoting the Philippines.
Yeah,
that's what we're doing.
Anybody can go to the trade fair and see these suppliers.
Absolutely. That's so true, John. I think you two need to write a book because
Yes,
I think you've
you
got
do.
so
You're so
much.
inspiring. You've got so many stories.
With these particular designers, we created loyalty.
Yes.
So if we did buy from them, they wouldn't sell to anybody else in Australia, even though we're only small buyers.
Yes.
Major companies had been like Freedom or
It's loyalty.
They were refused to supply them, even though they'd get $1 million order. They'd rather take.
No, there was one story about one of our suppliers. This is quite a few years ago, and she said to me, actually, I think it was Country Road. Was it Country Road? It was. And somebody from Country Road came to her stand at the trade show at the Philippines with an item, and she said, "Oh, we want you to copy this for our stores." And she said, "That's not a problem. Where did you buy it?" "They were bought in New York." "That's my product."
Oh, you're joking.
Wow. Well, there you go. Unbelievable.
The copying, that's the thing that was quite more of a distress than it happens so regularly.
Yeah.
As I say, I'd go up to the trade shows in Melbourne and happened time and time again.
Yep.
What's your problem? You know what?
Yeah. It's very sad.
Well, thank you very much for having us.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. We're extremely grateful.
Privilege.
Thank you.
John and Barbara, thank you for sharing your stories, your wisdom and the remarkable journey behind Hermon Hermon. Your belief in craftsmanship, authenticity and pieces with true history has shaped countless Melbourne homes and continues to inspire designers, retailers, homeowners and us today.
It's been a privilege to hear how your lives and your style has evolved and how you continue to live surrounded by pieces that genuinely matter. Thank you both for joining us. It has been a privilege.
Thank you. Thanks for listening. We hope you enjoyed today's show. If you'd like to get in touch, email us on thedesignduet@gmail.com or DM us on our Instagram page, The Design Duet.